love you very much. I'm very proud of you. And I love being your dad. These are the words that I told my daughter Alana night after night as she was growing up. She's 15 years old now, and I still say some version of these on a regular basis. So what is it I was really trying to communicate? In 2 words, unconditional love. My hope, my dream being that she would choose to feel comfortable being herself, to lead an authentic life, and to have the courage to lead a life of her choosing. As I talk to friends who are parents, universally, what I hear is that we as parents love our children unconditionally. And yet in talking with those same friends, many express concerns that they feel the love they received from their parents was very conditional. And I find the same in talking with students, and I find the same in talking with elders. So it seems that we have a disconnect. Parents who feel that we, love our children unconditionally. And children, including adult children, who feel, in many cases, that the love we've received was conditional. And I'll suggest it's not parental love that is conditional, but rather expressions of parental love and expressions of approval. Here's the catch. There are messages that we receive as children, especially when we're very young, and especially those that are delivered with great emotion. And those messages, however well intended, and in most cases meant to help protect us, to guide us, because as parents we want to protect our children from the world. But the reality is that we can't. We can't always be there as much as we would like to. And so we try and guide our children in hopes that they will make decisions that will serve them well. And some of those same messages that may have been very appropriate when we were little continue to replay now that we're adults. And sometimes they're messages that say, here is who you are, here is where you're from, here's what you can be. The inverse being, therefore, here's what you can't be. So in some cases, they're limiting. What can we do about that? Many things, but here are 3 ideas for your consideration. Forgive. We can choose to forgive our parents, teachers, other adults in our lives who, despite the very best of intentions in most cases, may have given us messages that have become limiting messages to us in our lifetime. In forgiving our parents, we open the door to forgive ourselves, a much harder job. And in many cases, this may actually involve therapy. And if we choose to seek therapy, it does not mean we're broken. It means that we are aware enough to recognize that we are human, and we are courageous enough to ask for help. And in forgiving ourselves, we open the possibility of earning the forgiveness of our own children. Because as parents, and most of you are, we know that we do the very best we can. And we know that we're human, that we all have challenges, that we all have strengths, and that we all make mistakes. And one of the things we can do when we make mistakes is apologize to kids, to teach them you do not have to be perfect. We can praise perseverance instead of perfection, so that when they face a tough time in their lives, as we each know they will, they persevere rather than trying to be perfect and to meet somebody else's expectations at the expense of their own best interest, maybe their job, maybe their family, maybe their life. So, forgive. Secondly, replace. We all have messages within our heads that we replay. Many of those are good. They've helped us. We can be thankful for them. But for those that are limiting, we can look to replace those. One of the first places to work on that is to take a look at who we're hanging with. If we are hanging out with people who drain us and people who are very negative, it's going to be difficult to make positive changes in our life. Another thing is we can create a constant source of positive. One of the ways is books, audiobooks, videos, TED Talks are an exceptional source of positive, of inspiration, of ideas that are worth sharing. And another is our self-talk. And I can tell you this is one of my challenges. I am better at being patient with strangers, with friends, with coworkers, even if there's somebody I don't particularly care for, than I am at being patient with myself. So if I get angry, if I make a mistake, if I get frustrated, I have to guard against, and I'm not going to claim it by saying I do this, but I'm working on it. I have to guard against talking to myself in a negative way that then creates a cycle. It's got to be broken. So, self-talk. And what makes self-talk so important is that deep down, we believe it. And it's a double whammy. One is because we're the ones saying it, and the second one is because we're hearing it. And so it can be self-fulfilling. It can also work to our advantage in that if we change our negative self-talk to positive self-talk, it can help us make positive changes in our life. Now, the next thing is that we can embrace. When we first start trying to make positive changes, sometimes the other individuals in our life, it's like, hold it. No, I knew you win. I know where you're from. I know who you are. I know what you are. So it's not always easy for people to accept the differences when we try and make a change. And sometimes it seems like the universe, the world's saying, hold it a minute, come on. Like we have to prove that we're serious. But if we continue, we stick with it, we can indeed make positive changes. But we have to be willing to embrace those. If opportunities come and we don't take them, they've slipped on by. As an educator, I've had the good fortune to work with well over 1,000 young people, students. And I can tell you that despite what some folks believe, I truly believe that our younger generations are absolutely amazing. And I believe that our world and our future are in good hands. And I'm very thankful to be an educator. I can also tell you that one of the highlights of my career as an educator is having my daughter Alana as one of my elementary school students. And so at school, our interactions were primarily teacher-student. At home, they were primarily father-daughter. And I remember one particular night, as I was saying goodnight to her, and I started with the very same words that I opened with here. I love you very much. I'm very proud of you. And I love being your dad. I love being one of your teachers, and you're one of my teachers too. And she looked up at me and she said, cool. So I know there was at least one moment in my daughter's life that I was cool. Now she's a teenager. I now, being a little older and at least hopefully a smidge wiser, recognize that cool is a mythical place. It is a place that parents generally are excluded from, and fathers specifically are excluded from. But I had a moment where I was cool. What I also recognize is that each of us has a journey. And when we are fortunate enough to be able to walk with the people we love for a portion of our journey and a portion of their journey. That's an amazing thing, and we need to embrace those opportunities. Alana's almost 16 now. And so I found myself wondering recently, and I asked her, so we've had 16 years together, 16 years as parent and child, 16 years as teacher-student, a portion of that actually. But you know how it is, with a teacher or teacher's kids, they're never completely out of school, right? So, but I asked her, has there been any particular lesson, anything that you've learned from me, anything I've taught you that has been particularly helpful? And I can tell you, her eyes glazed over. And there was a moment, and then she had a very thoughtful look, and she said, to be myself. And inside I said, yes. Take a moment. Picture your dad, or the dad you would have liked to have had. And please hear these words. I love you very much. I'm very proud of you. And I love being your dad. And for all those times that I fell short, please forgive me. I was doing the very best that I knew how to do at the time.